off and attach it up here. The glue has had plenty of time to dry. Now, using a rotary tool, I break into our shocking pen and look at the electronics inside. These are really weak. These pens are not very expensive. All right, I gotta try something. It's not gonna feel good. Prepped. Let's set that off right about here. Because we used a bandsaw, these two pieces wires attaches to the spring, and the other one of those wires attaches to this green piece of small buzz. It's not something that's going to hurt because it's intended as a joke cable. And this right here is under my tongue. I don't feel it traveling the path. Have more of a charge to them than the ones that come in the pen. We are not going to be using the LED bulb, so we can just clip that off. There's our little button. We're gonna be taking that out. If you have a good way to buy those buttons, it look like a unicorn horn or something. Okay, so now we've got a couple of these pieces of the plastic case. Not done yet. Guys, I love Harry Potter. I love Harry Potter so much. I've read all the books, I've watched all the lead wires. However, these are just a trick of this is really engineering everything to be small enough to fit inside the handle, but it works.
Yeah.
So I've had lots of times where it just like buzzes a little bit, and then I've had times where I feel it. Pretty simple. There is a functioning pen, a little bit too stabby. We don't want to be in just right. It's going to be untouched strands twisted together inside parts of a shocking gag pen to take the channel all the way to the end of. I also grabbed this cheap little flashlight in the pen at the bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all of the electronic guts out of this pen. Okay, we've got our two. Have some volunteers. I volunteered them to participate in the flashlight. It depends. It changes a light. It didn't even work when I bought it. That's okay because all we want is the push button on the inside. Now we need to split it, those batteries, and when I touch this end as well, it starts buzz part, just sort of twists off. Housing and battery setup, and that's all gonna fit inside. So, it's pretty wand. Those two, and I did quite a bit more texture down at the bottom. Wingardium. That were inside of the hoodies. We're gonna be using one of these smaller sizes. The bigger ones won't be able to fit too well. Wand is complete, and I have color to this, so wires here are doubled around. That's just gonna keep everything a little bit shorter. And one side, or we just need to trim them down a little bit. So cut it in half lengthwise first. And you've maybe heard my voice jump a couple of times when I touched it by accident and wasn't expecting it. Or I already was. And then I also have a couple like doing. By all means, you should go ahead and do that. For this one, I'm just gonna use some sanding wand with a shock. We'll have this red. I have a 1/2 inch dowel, and we need to run wires through. That like causes a bottom. You can right now it's just shaped on with a shocking twist. We need to have one of these two wires. I think expensive, and the bat has an enamel coating on it, and that enamel. The reason we got additional batteries, even though the shocking pens do come with some, is that the battery we're going to use part of right here is good on me. Between them. Right, yeah. But I have done it on my tongue alone.
One side on your tongue and the other side.
As well as working as a connection point between the handle and the shaft of the wand. Work on the handle, and we're actually going to do that right now because one other change we're going to do. You can see that I didn't, along with the dowels and the shocking pens that we're going to take all of the insides out, we've got a few things that we're going to add. Wire here, so this stuff works really well as enamel wire, which is also weirdly hard to find. Now they're lengthwise down into the dowel, and it's going to be just large enough to fit our electronics inside. Out on a video, don't forget to ring that bell, and we will see you in the next one. Talk to you then. Click it, and when they do, bit. So now this splits apart. You can see add a switch, a button on the outside. And that's why we have our tiny little flat. So, and it delivers us fit really nicely together. And I'm gonna try using anything that's gonna truly run all the way up to the tip of the wand, and that's what we're gonna use as our shocking point.
Makes all the muscles contract.
Let's go for right wood. And that's because we don't just, I've bent it back and then over again. YouTube thinks you should be watching next. And if you hit this bomb here in the middle, you'll be subscribed to our channel so you never miss it. For both sides, either way works. This split. Guys, that's not all. We've always got more for you to see that long way. And to do that, we're gonna use a bandsaw. See, I didn't do too much at the top. That's because the walls up at the top where I've drilled it out are fairly thin. I didn't want to rip in. First, I picked up a set of these other, give it a little bit of shape and texture down at the bottom. It actually ended up being quite even, and so I think we're just gonna cut a little bit of a groove into both of those. Change things up a little bit so we have a button that turns it on and off. A lot, depending on where on your skin it is, wire here. So let's clip everything shorter and do some more soldering. our wand. Our springs and our battery are in place, so now we're just gonna take this cover. It's gonna end up thinning out parts at the top, and we just want batteries in the pen, everything. We need to shape this a little bit more conductive, and okay, last thing I wanna do is just add a bit of finishing away. I'm a very talented wizard. I want to make sure that we have everything all complete and lined up, so that's just what we like. It's a little bit easier if we do this part first rather than after. Onto the tip of each batteries. I grabbed these at Harbor Freight. This whole pack was about $4. It's a lot of different varieties, and the easiest way to do that is just to touch the things and see if it's zapping me. So let's take one with it, press a button, and they get zapped a little bit. So here's what is a magic wand that actually will deliver a small electric shock. Now I don't want to look at this thing. One of the trickiest things about this whole setup is how small we need to get. Do some interesting stuff, making their own Harry Potter wand handles. It's just startling when it suddenly buzzes your thumb instead of just extending how it works. So if I am to pen, we actually do want to use those varieties of wire. This is some insulated wire that I pulled out of some old Cat 5. Touching this spring, which is in contact with the same way as some switches, it's just if you're holding down the button, it's on. Me testing this out. Josh, how do you feel? Down, make it a little more tapered. There we go. As I was tapering it, I decided I kind of wanted to do mend sides. Here's what we need, just to break through. It's completely involuntary, isn't it? We're going to be doing. We've got these gag shocking
buzzing.
Yeah,
it's nothing crazy like
this down here. We're not going to be using, and they are glued together. So the easiest way to separate them, we'll have the wire on the other side of our button going back. Touch some. Enamel coating is actually throw it back on. That'll stop our batteries from popping out like they like to do. All right, this part's been running all the way up through my fingers.
If I put it right here on my arm, I can actually feel it.
Movies and just a fan all around. And something that I've been wanting to build for a long time is cracking or sanding through the edges there. So the top before this little plastic plate was facing straight up. There's enough space that we can glue them together and have the size of the match to the handle a little bit. And I gave it a little bit going up through our. I'm in contact with this lead here and this lead here. Here's the basic idea. We'll use a couple of dowels in the non-conductive. You can scrape it away to get to a conductive, a decorative copper wire. What we need is a channel that's just big enough for some of this wire. 2 strands of it, and they come with 2 strands. Our button is going to go on the outside of the wand. Gives me a nice little buzz.
Said on Josh's tongue. What?
No. We're not going to try. I'm actually going to be taking my gloves off. The point of this thing is that it gives off an electric. The top part is mostly wood meeting up. Time to do a little switch. It doesn't click on and off this. Connection points to the wires. Press down on the top, it connects all of the wires inside. We don't want it to be always on. We want to add a bit of a spiral cut to it. Kind of makes it. Then we want to cut a channel. Always have to make contact with the skin.
Ooh. That's a little bit of a tingle.
And it, however, it does leave a little bit of tooth. I can feel it in my finger, and it's okay because we didn't want this portion. We're just going to be using this top portion of this. We're going to cut it off so it's about that long. We're going to do a little bit more soldering. It's not that it's one. Incapacitate or injure someone, but I did want something that's sort of a prank. You can just, that looks pretty good. I'm going to cut that off. Pretty simple. There's a button, and then these 2 leads in here, which has all of our channels coming off of that, and a little bit of the wire with the coating stripped off. With the hole drilled out into the larger dowel piece, we can see that everything can now fit down. Super painful. It's just surprising when you're not ready for it. So as long as a flashlight here and some leads at the front of the wand, hopefully we'll end up with a wand. Going to our button, we'll take the spring pens. If you've never seen one of these before, here's how they work. It's pretty. There's lots of ways you could cut this groove. You could use just a razor blade and a steady hand, the right size. Now these 2, a wand that can deliver a tiny electric shock to your friends. Where they use things like hot glue or melted wax to add some other texture onto those. If that's something you wish to go through the side of the handle, and then glue it together around the wires. Inside, and that's exactly what we're going to need. We do want to do a little bit of decoration through it. And these pieces right here to make everything fit a little bit nicer. So that's something we can fit inside the handle of the wand. So you can see that the wand, using our smallest drill bit. Glue is drying. Let's work on some of the internal portions of our wand. We've got the basic, There's this portion fit down through the channel of the wand, touching the spring, and then a second wire coming off of that. It's very nice and compact. I think it will be a little bit quicker and easier. And you can wave it around and do magic spells. Wingardium Leviosa.
It's Leviosa.
A muscle in here to just completely seize all at once. Set aside for a few minutes. Get started on the wand itself. Right here I'm into it, but it looks like it's going to be a clip. So we need to add some access points for the wire, like a dowel. That's not very exciting. So back to the belt sander. We're going to take some of these sides down. Though, we want to be able to run wires on the inside of this dowel and carve out a channel. That should be plenty of clamps. Wow, that
Taser or a stun gun.
Exactly. I didn't want something that was going to like injure people. Give it to someone with the pen not extended. They try and colors that come with them are pretty cheap. They die quickly, and I suspect that they don't have quite the voltage. Today we're going to be building a Harry Potter style magic wand. So fairly cheap, but they definitely seem to. Now we need to glue this wire inside that channel. This is why we got the flashlight, is for this tiny injuring people. We're going to be shocking them, but it's a light shock that's not supposed to really hurt that.
Just kidding, that was funny.
About that.
I feel great.
Yeah?
I feel like a victim.
Don't worry, you can shock me with it too. And that's exactly what we want. We only want the electricity of the wand to be connected while we're pressing the button. The little pegs at the bottom hold this all together out of our handle. So now we need to go about making that handle. We're actually going to drill a hole. Now we want to choose a length. Individually, that works too. This just happened to be at the store. I'm going to try one finger on and then touch the other side with my tongue. It zaps them. The body of the pen and the top here are shock, and I want to be able to feel it to know that I have it set up right. If it's not working correctly, I need to know. Compact it down quite a bit. So I'm just going to do a little bit of wire bending on Leviosa, which is not going to work because the wand doesn't just look like plain pine. So we're at least going to make it look a little bit snazzier. Got some metallic insides that just kind of get shredded as we do that. This plastic portion up here off is what's going to stick out from the top of those. So what we're going to do to round these out is we're going to add a little drop of solder all the way down the length of the whole thing. And we can cut into a quick pen, and so you mark on the inside. So we're just going to take some sandpaper and try and smooth that out a bit. That will make it so we can fit it inside the handle of our box. Up at the top is going to take you directly to our last video. You should go check that out. The other box is going to show you what you... All right, there's some decoration put on the handle. I've seen some other people give a portion of the wire that they're supposed to in the first place. These batteries that I'm using are actually also Wingardium Leviosa. Made the camera flow. Want a big open channel there. We're gonna add two more smaller